Hi there, I'm Danny Flexen.
This is Joe Leigh.
We're here for the latest edition of Who Are You Backing? Or Who You Backing?
Yeah.
Give it its more youthful version of the title. And we basically every week do a draft style pick, three picks each on a relevant topic. And then we leave it up to you guys, the viewers, to decide who's got the better collection of choices at the end.
Yeah.
Um, Joe, do you want to introduce this week's topic?
So this week we're going to be doing one called Veterans Day. That's the title. And we're classing those fighters as 35 and older. So anyone 35 and older that we think is still world class talent from anywhere in the world, doesn't have to be British. So yeah, that's today's topic.
And it'll be up to you guys to vote for who's got the best stable at the end of it, who's going to be
Yeah.
taking on the world with their, band of veteran danger men.
Yeah. I've got some good ones today.
Well, we shall
Got the-
see. I was doing it earlier, and I'll be happy if I get like two out of my top three.
Yeah. Same, to be fair.
So we always start with a trivia question, and if the person gets it right, they get the first pick. If they get it wrong, they cede the first pick to their rival. And this week, Joe's got the. Actually, before we do that, do we know what the votes were for last week?
Yeah, it was actually pretty even when I last checked anyway, which was this morning. So it was pretty even. But Lawrence Okoli got the most. And then the rest, all of my fighters, because I could only do a poll with either five or two ones of three, I had to separate our fighters. But the one who got the most votes out of both polls was Lawrence Okoli. So I guess
That makes me the winner, basically.
in a way, yeah.
Well, I think this time let's just do the two stables of three, so we've got a clear split. Either you win or I win.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be me, but I just want to make sure we've got that
Well,
in
we'll see
writing.
about that one. We've got the trivia question now then.
All right, go on.
So, seeing as it was you last week, I'll go now. Right, okay. So, in 2002, Mike Tyson fought Lennox Lewis. In what round did Lennox Lewis knock him out?
Oh God. Oh, you put me on the spot. You can see my hands. I'm not using box rec. Round oh, 8.
Oh, you're right.
I know.
I was
It just
straight
came
with
into
that.
my head.
I thought I had you.
Yeah, round 8. Whew.
Um,
Right, so first pick. It might not be who you think because what I found when I was doing this, right, was that there's a lot of boxers out there who are older than you think.
I thought that as well. When we first said we were going to do this topic, I was thinking, right, okay, I could think of some decent people, all right. But I found about six people that I could pick. I could pick up another three or four.
All right, well, let's see if I'm going to steal your first pick or
Yeah.
not, but I'm going to go with 35 years young Artur Beterbiev,
Oh, okay. That wasn't mine. One of mine actually. Carry on.
Russia's unified light heavyweight champion, destructive, strong, sturdy, dangerous, powerful, great amateur background. And
Yeah.
even though he is 35, he looks, based on form, as if he's in his prime.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
we'll have to wait and see what happens, but I don't think anyone considers him not to be the best light heavyweight on the planet at the moment, especially after Sergei Kovalev fell to Canelo not that long after he lost also to Elida Alvarez. I
Yeah.
think Alvarez and Kovalev are both over 35 as well. So light heavyweight's obviously a division for the older gentlemen, or maybe
Yeah.
not gentlemen. But yeah, I just think Beterbiev's a fearsome performer, probably in the top 10 or top 15 pound for pound fighters today.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't think he was as old as he is. So
Yeah.
that's,
No, I
that's
think
my first pick.
that's a good one. For me, I'm gonna bounce back, and I'm gonna go with the world champion, Triple G.
Yeah.
38 years old, and I can't go against him. As soon as I thought of him, I was never going to back out. Even though he's been getting a lot of stick recently for his performance against Derevyanchenko, I think it was just almost like a rough patch, not the end of his career, because a lot of people are saying he's going to fall off now, and if he fights Canelo again, it's going to be the end of it. But for me, everyone was saying, because obviously Eddie Hearn came out, Stitch came out and said he was ill before the last fight, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, that's just an excuse." But people who have saying that's an excuse, they haven't had man flu because it can affect you bad, can't it? It can affect you real bad. So that can certainly take away, your gas tank. And it looked that he gassed out early in his last fight, but he still came on. He still came out victorious with all the belts. So I think that was just a rough night for him, but a learning curve. And I still think he's not at that downward spiral in his career yet. He's still got lots more to come.
Yeah, I agree. He was number 3 on my list, actually. So I am going to get my first 2 picks, which is pretty gratifying. But yeah, no, he's
Yeah.
an excellent fighter. I think he's had a long amateur career before that as well,
Yeah,
which,
yeah, yeah.
you start to think he's going to fade. He's going to fade. But he
He
still
just
looks
keeps
like a
learning
very
and
good fighter, world class. Derevianchenko's an excellent fighter as well. So no disgrace in being pushed by him.
yeah.
Um,
I also think he does get a bit too much stick for my liking because I'm on the GGG bandwagon, man. I think Canelo gets all the credit and then GGG doesn't, because Canelo, you saw him against Kovalev. He wasn't even winning the fight. But because he got that knockout, which is fair enough, he won in the end. No one really talked about it too much. But if GGG was in exactly the same fight, knocked him out, they would have been like, "Oh, he wasn't great against Kovalev, was he?" I think he's on the end of some harsh criticism sometimes.
agreed.
Yeah,
Now, someone who doesn't get too much criticism, who's almost universally loved,
I
is
think
my
I know.
number 2. I think he's 41 now. I have to quickly check my notes. Yeah, 41, Manny Pacquiao.
That was my
Um,
number 2. Yeah,
yeah, reigning world champion, had a historic career already. Many people in Pacquiao's position, like he's a state senator back in the Philippines, national hero, won world titles. Depends on your kind of point of view, at either 6 or 8 different weights. For me, it's 6 because I only include the alphabet belts, but I understand
yeah,
people
yeah,
that say 8 because of Ring Magazine and kind of lineal titles and all of that.
yeah.
But just still performing at a very high level. He had that. I think we have to call it a blip now against Jeff Horn, considering how they've both performed since, or maybe
Yeah,
style-wise, Horn just wasn't suited to him. But since then, he's come back in really strong form, and the win over Thurman, which was pretty clear, I thought, relatively close on the scorecards, but I thought it was a clear win for
yeah,
Pacquiao against an unbeaten champion, albeit, hadn't long returned from a long layoff and looked a bit shaky in his comeback fight. Still, a lot of people thought it was a 50-50 fight. A lot of people thought that Pacquiao would never fight someone of that sort of level at this stage of his career. He
hmm
did. He won. This break now, maybe he needs to be active at his age. I don't know. It might help freshen him up. But either way, there's not much more he can do now to add to his legacy unless he
yeah.
fights Spence or Crawford. But just on current standing, it's just remarkable how good he is, not just over the age of 35, which is the purpose of this draft, but over the age of 40.
Would you still want him to fight Khan?
No, it's not a fight I'd
Yeah,
really want to watch. I would in the sense that I really like Khan and I'd like
yeah,
him to get a big fight, before he
yeah.
retires. But no, I mean, I want to see Pacquiao fight still at a relatively high level. I don't know if I want to see him against Crawford or Spence because I'd worry about him a little bit. But then the
Mhm.
last time we were worried about Manny Pacquiao, he destroyed what was left of Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah,
So you
true.
can never quite count him out.
No, I agree with that, and I think he's got some sort of superhuman power to be able to do what he's doing at such an old age in terms of boxing. Like you look at the likes of AJ, Fury, you can't see them fighting in another 10, 11 years. And the fact that Pacquiao's managed to keep it up for so long is very impressive.
The fact that he's gone through the weights as well, like for someone who started as low as he did, to still
You'd
be
think
fighting
it'd
at
take a
41.
toll on your body.
Well, yeah, you don't see many 41-year-old kind of bantamweights or featherweights still fighting, do you? So, yeah, fair
With
play to him.
with that volume that he strikes at as well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So go on, who's your number 2?
Number 2, originally number 3, but we'll go with 2 now. Luis Ortiz.
That's
So
interesting. He didn't make my top 6.
yeah, so I
I
was looking
considered him.
around it, and mainly for me, the biggest point behind it is the heavyweight side of things because of when you're a heavyweight, it's one hit can end everything, and because he's managed to keep that up for so long, only being defeated to one man, still fighting at the age of 40s is the reason because the division you're in, anything can happen at any given time, and it's all the more dangerous the older you get as well because with the likes of Pacquiao and other picks we've chosen, that they're in lower weight divisions, so it's not as tolling on your body. But when you're in a heavyweight division, you're getting hit with big blows for a long period of time coming into your 40s. It's going to take a toll. So the fact that he's still fighting is impressive. And I think for me, he's only lost to one man. And in both of those fights, he gave him a very good go. In the second fight, he was beating the heavyweight champion of the world. So he's still 100% a world class fighter.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's never beaten a world level opponent, would be my argument kind of against
Yeah.
him. But maybe he still could. Maybe he's a fresh, older gentleman, and he can
Yeah.
move on and still get the job done. Maybe his best years are still in front of him, as unlikely as that might seem.
Mhm.
Yeah, he didn't quite make the cut for me. I had him in my kind of top 10, but I
Yeah.
only needed 6 picks, obviously, just in case you got my whole top three. But
Yeah.
although I don't know how that would have happened, I probably didn't need six. But yeah,
I
either
I
way,
got 6 just in case as well, but
yeah, I feel better about it now. Right, well, rounding off my super trio,
yeah.
my number three, who was originally obviously my number four. Now, I just want to preset this by saying that he hasn't got the world level victories that some of the other um, older than 35 guys have.
Yeah.
But I just think he's closer to his prime now, whereas some of the other guys are starting to fade.
Mhm.
And it's Maris Breedis,
You
the
love him?
Latvian cruiserweight. Yeah, I think I'm just going to pick him every week, even if
Yeah.
it's like a category that doesn't suit him. Best female boxers, Maris Breedis. Um, but yeah, he's a former world champion. He still looks just as good as he did kind of 2-3 years ago. He obviously turned pro quite late on. Excellent fighter. Probably given Alexander Usyk the closest fight of his career so far, which is
I'd
impressive
say.
in itself. And just a really, really good fighter. Obviously, in the final of the World Boxing Super Series, when boxing resumes against Junior Dorticos, I
Yeah.
make him the favourite for that, as we know from last week. And yeah, 35 years young, and just still looks as solid, dependable, great fundamentals as well as he ever has, and very hard to beat, especially if he keeps fighting at home in Latvia.
Would you be down for a Usyk rematch at heavyweight?
We'd have to see Breedis if he can carry it up to heavyweight. Even
Yeah.
Usyk, who's got quite a big frame, didn't look in his heavyweight debut like a genuine heavyweight yet. So we'll have to see. But I mean, Breedis, once he's kind of taken care of business in the World Boxing Super Series final, what has he got left? If
Rematch.
Glavotsky beats a Coley, perhaps a rematch with Glavotsky because their first fight was controversial. But
Yeah.
aside from that, I think he probably would be thinking about moving up.
Yeah. No, that's a fair argument, to be fair. I respect that one. But I'm gonna have to come at you with another heavyweight. This week I haven't got any British people. Last week I was all British. I'm gonna go with Povetkin. I was gonna go with Chisora, Del Boy, but I've gone with Povetkin. Purely because he's held the heavyweight belt before. Obviously that wasn't when he was. I think he was before 35. Then he's in his 40s now. But the fact that, like I said with Luis Ortiz, he's a heavy hitter. He gets hit with some serious shots, and especially in the Michael Hunter fight, he stayed up. He didn't get knocked down once, and I think it's just a testament to himself because when you're at that age, it's so difficult to keep it up with those heavy hitters, as I keep saying, because it's a difficult division to be in. And I just think respect to him because I'd say a fringe top three, top five definitely over the last few years, and he's been fighting the top guys. So credit to him because for someone who's been given a lot of stick, he's not my favourite fighter, but he's still remained up there, through the ebbs and flows, and I've got to respect him for that.
He was my number seven.
Yeah.
He's a funny one because just when you think that he's starting to fade, as he inevitably will, he
Hmm.
comes back with a good performance like he did against Hughie Fury. And then
Yeah.
obviously he's had the fight with Michael Hunter where he didn't look quite so good. And
Yeah.
he's not consistent, is he, I suppose? But
Yeah, yeah. For me, it was in the Hunter fight. It was just the fact that he managed to stay on his feet and not get knocked down. It just shows he's got a chin on him, and Michael Hunter's a very he's an elite level, I'd say. Maybe not at the heavyweight yet, but I still think that was a great fight. And against Hughie Fury, definitely he showed then that he's still at a good enough level to be challenging for world level fights.
agreed. Yeah, he almost cracked my top six. Just to give people an idea of people I had listed who didn't quite make the cut.
Yeah,
I had Sergei Kovalev at
I had him.
37, but I didn't put him in the top three because he's probably on the downward slide now.
Yeah,
Erislondi Lara, another
no,
37-year-old, still competing at the top level at super welterweight. But again, would you pick him against like Charlo or someone like that? Probably not.
exactly.
Um, I think. Oh, and yeah, I did look at Chisora. He didn't quite make even the top 10, to be fair. But
Oh, really? Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I did briefly look at him because he's on the best run of his career, isn't he?
yeah. And especially coming up to that Usyk fight, if it happens still now, and he gets over that, then he shoots back up into the top six maybe, and he could look at getting a world title fight. You never know.
Who else did you have that didn't quite make it?
I had Chisora. I had David Price, but that wasn't like a top 10. That was just a thought. I wasn't gonna. He
People are going to
wasn't.
vote against you just for that now. Watch.
He wasn't gonna. Nah, he wasn't gonna be in it. But that was just a thought. Kovalev. No, I've mentioned them all now. To be fair.
So people out there, you're voting not on individual fighters this time, but on stable versus stable.
Yeah.
So just to recap, I've got Artur Beterbiev, Manny Pacquiao, and Maris Breedis.
I've got Triple G, Luis Ortiz, and Povetkin.
So you got a real heavyweight trio there,
Yeah,
and I've
man.
got more of a mix of the weights. But yeah, I mean they're both. You wouldn't want to meet either of those triumvirates in a dark alley. It's fair to say.
No, so
Um,
I'm not feeling that one.
but we'll
Um,
put the button up, and people let us know what
yeah,
you think. And also in the comments below, is there anyone we've overlooked that you feel
yeah,
35 and over you feel we should have had in our top threes?
yeah. There was a lot of options, but I feel like we've covered the best fighters. And yeah, it's gonna be good, interesting to see this week because I think it was a bit closer this week. To be fair.
We shall see. And then next
Yeah.
week we'll be back with another Who Are You Back In with a
Yeah.
different topic, and
Yeah.
hopefully my winning streak will continue.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Brilliant. All right, well, we'll see you all next week. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Catch you later.